starting to call me the GOAT, yeah, yeah. They starting to call me the GOAT, yeah, yeah. They starting to call me the GOAT, yeah, yeah. I told a bad bitch, give me dope, yeah, yeah. All of my niggas afloat, yeah, yeah. 20s all over the float, yeah, yeah. Money all over the float, yeah, yeah. Now they say I am the GOAT, yeah, yeah.
Because you're placing one tool right on top of the other, just like a piggyback ride. Okay? So, when would you use this and what does it actually do? You technically use this technique for long hair. So if somebody really wants basic curls, like the basic set that we've been doing the past 2 days, but their hair is long, so you cannot really ideally wrap it over one.
I said long like her hair?
Long like her hair, yes. Then you would have technically have to split the hair into 2 pieces, wrapping half on one rod and the other half on the other rod. Okay, now the reason why is because if the hair is really long and you keep on wrapping it, it becomes too much hair. You can wrap it really smooth. That's number 1. And number 2 is once you put the waving lotion or the waving solution, because it's too much hair bunched up, the waving solution is not going to be able to penetrate in each strand of hair equally. That means some of it will absorb more, some of it will absorb less. So you kind of like separate the strand into 2 separate tools, so you make the wrapping easier and obviously the processing a lot more easier. So far so good? Okay, so our Angel technically does not qualify as long enough to really put a piggyback technique, but she's the only long hair we have, so you know, kind of like it is what it is. But as you've noticed, both Angel and Courtney have been, you know, basic enough or good enough to do like a basic wrap on them. So that means the piggyback technique to be used on her, it's a little bit more easier because there's really not enough length of hair. So you're not gonna really feel the struggle until you really do it on a real person with, you know, what's considered real long hair, which is anywhere between at least 14 and, you know, and longer. So what I like about piggyback is that the controlling of the ends of the hair is a lot more easier. So flashback a little bit the past 2 days, guys, when you've been trying to control the ends of the hair, that some of the pieces have been dropping from your hands and you had to pick it up and like kind of like wrap it and all of that kind of like struggle, that goes away with the piggyback. So that's kind of like a very much more ease to really complete it. So you'll notice for some reason. And also another bad news that you're going to notice with the piggyback is that you technically need double the amount of rods to complete this, okay? So ideally on a person, you would definitely need the you know, the big ones. They can be the sizes right next to each other, but you don't want to do, you know, the purple and then the second one the blue or the orange. You want it to be close, okay? You can do 2 of the same color. That's perfectly fine as well. But because we don't have that luxury to do that, what you're gonna wind up doing is pretty much use almost all the rods that you have on your kit. So when you actually pick it up, you know, when you finish and put it in the dryer, she's gonna feel really, really heavy, and it feels the same exact way on a real person as well, okay? Same thing for the spiral, because you really put a good amount of rods in it. So now that I have my you know, my strand, try to switch it up a little bit as far as sizes, so you're not stuck doing all the purple and the white on the center and then wind up being stuck with the small ones. Kind of like give yourself a break, because sometimes you get so kind of like tired with so much work at the beginning, like towards the end you like almost like, you know, give up on it. If you change up the sizes a little bit, you'll be a little bit more comfortable by, you know, still having some purples and whites left. You know, I'm not stuck with only the small sizes left. So now the goal is to wrap this first half in one rod and this for the other rest of the ends on, you know, another rod. So on the first one, I don't have to worry about controlling the ends of the hair. So no end paper required in there, right? Which makes it easy. But then wrapping makes it a little bit more challenging. So you want to make sure that you spread the hair, like you open it up, you don't bunch it up into the center. And you're going to take your rod and you're going to place it right underneath, kind of like halfway through, right? Halfway of the length. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the ends of the hair and wrap it under, coming up into this corner, right? Now, as you do that, you also want to make that first turn. Okay, so you do it simultaneously. Now, you have that first latch, right? That first kind of like hook. Now, depending on how long the hair is, you get to do that at least 2 or 3 times with, you know, angel, or you get to do it 4 to 5 times with, you know, long hair person. So once with the ends come up, what I'm going to do is wrap them again. As soon as I put this under, my hands and my wrist goes under as well. So the more you do this first couple of, you know, rotations between 2 to 3, the more secure this will become. Okay, then I wind up doing 2 in there, which is okay still, but between 2 to 3 is definitely a normal. So I have this ends that's coming out in here, which is perfectly fine, and now I need to make sure I close it, making sure it's over this strand of hair. Okay, I'm gonna close it just like you've been closing it. You know the deal. It needs to be on top, cannot be too tight. It gets a little frustrating with the piggyback because it's gonna feel like it's like almost gonna fall apart, but you still cannot fall into a habit on twisting this and making it tight, okay, because it's still gonna cause breakage into the hair. So now that I have my ends, and this will be my second tool, right, you can tell already how much easier this will be. I will show you a little trick to make the wrapping of this a little bit more easy, and this is the first time you can incorporate the bookend wrap, okay, because it feels like the hair is so much thinner. I don't have it wide across. I'm not going to really have as much ends of the hair. So you're going to place it lengthwise, not widthwise. I'm going to place it right here. I'm going to make sure that, you know, this gives me a lot more better coverage. I'm going to wet it, okay, and I'm going to make sure that the ends of it gets covered. Okay, so I'm going to take my second tool, and you will see that wrapping the second portion will be a breeze. If you see any ends like that, which is really not a big deal, you can still continue to wrap. You know, it's not as bad. But if you see that becomes too bad, you can add another single wrap like we've been doing technically the past 2 days. So when this reaches the end of it, right, I close and I kind of like twist just a little bit, just enough so it has like a good tension that's not really falling apart, but you can tell.